Hey everybody! I want to talk about education again. This one's not the best way to educate. It's just all about education and why more education is usually better. Huh? And how do you get more education without just sitting there getting educated, which you can do. Bookworms, the dude that knows all questions on the TV shows and stuff like that. Well, all the questions that everyone talks about, they learn them. That makes them look like they know a lot, but they just know that the things that people mostly talk about, or what they're going to throw out on the questions, because they're going to talk about what society will mostly know, right? And so if you learn about society and all the game shows and TVs and all that kind of stuff and what goes around, you'd know all the questions in game shows. But I want to talk about education and what happens and who gets in what bracket and why people get paid more. People get paid more because they're educated more, apparently. But you only get paid more if you're educated more in the system. It means you got to get the piece of paper, right? All the time. Otherwise, you're not educated. Remember the clip I talked about that? Not educated till you get the piece of paper, right? And I've talked about how you can do certain tests to make sure people who get self-educated can go do tests and be educated quicker, right? As they're already educated. But there's not many. There's some sectors that allow you to do that, but most no. 95% no. So you can't do that. Right? And so if you don't go through the systems education, then you're not educated. But education is when you learn. Right? And you learn at the start, most kids, and we like to play as a kid and all that, so mostly at the start, through the system of education. So what we're seeing on TV, what we're talking about around, right, and that all lines up to what you see on TV, what you learn at school, what we're doing at the moment, what we've sort of done a little bit. They give you a little bit of that, but mostly what we're doing at the moment, usually always in the now. When you're at school, you'll be talking about the football game and movies and things happening in the now. It's mostly the now, right? And it's good to be in the now. The now is important, but it's also important to know history and to learn a little extra why you're in your nows, right? And be in the now and also always talk about the now, because the now is always the now, you see. But the now is quickly talked about, as you can see on the news sometimes, as I can put it across is the point, where you see the news, it's an hour to, we'll say 3 hours of the day, 24 day, and they spread that out in all different ways with a couple of extra seconds or minutes in here, there, everywhere, but it's all pretty much the same. You know? And they might play that for a few days, right, before you see something else, unless something else big in the now. Right? But they don't talk about that much or anything like that. You're mostly in the now, and if you don't remember about things, then you won't remember history. You're not getting history unless you can remember it, as they won't repeat it unless they have a day where they want to talk about themselves and repeat some shows and stuff, right? But other than that, you're in the now. So when you learn, you've learnt all that in the now, you've learnt the system, you learnt what they want you to learn. So when you leave high school or you become out in your free life, now it's your final choice to learn what else you want to do, which people slowly do sometimes, right? And you learn what you want to learn. You're free, more freer. Not free, but you're more freer. We got freer countries than others. So come to this freer country than that one. That's what they should advertise more too. Then come to this free country or this thing. Because behind the scenes, they like to talk about, like, here's behind the scenes talking. You can mow your lawns. Most people do. What do you mean you can't mow your lawns out there? Or if someone next door don't want you to mow it, and they've got this excuse like they're asleep or whatever, right? You might not have to mow it, right? Behind the scenes. Right? But they'll advertise that you can mow it and everything's cool and we get along. But then, no, there's behind the scenes where we don't get along. And it's not as cool as you think it is. Huh? Countries, hey. So when it comes back to education, when you leave school, what do you do? Do you go get a job quickly because you got a girlfriend, you had a kid, and you have to get a job, and your parents even say, you got to get a job, yeah, you got to be like me. And it's of course, we got to be similar to our parents, how we all get along, but we don't have to be like you, otherwise we'd be a fucking clone. And if I want to be a clone, I'll be a clone. That's cool. Right? But I don't want to be exactly like you, and we're all different. Right? And the further we are, the more I can be different. Maybe you're 50, maybe even 30. I'll lose your way. I'll become me, right? More me, less you. Less the system. Right? That's how you find yourself, because if you stay in the system, how are you ever going to find yourself, you see? And it's experience. And what makes you happy? So if you're happy, and what makes you happy is not hurting anybody, so how you make money He's not hurting the environment as well and other creatures. You're not just taking it from the creatures. So I'm happy because I just shot all those birds and I can get some money. But yet I can get money to make me happy in other ways too, without taking out the birds, their life, to make me happy, you see, or making their life harder or worse. Right? So how do you become happy? Are you happy because you do things like that? That means you're on the devil's side. Right? If you know about the devil and God, right? That means you're more on that side. You're that person. Or you do the hunts a lot for your profit. Right? It's all legal, it's all good, you're meant to do it, but that's what you're doing. Right? And then when you do that, are you keeping 5 of them where you can put out more than you shoot? Because if you put out more than you shoot, then it's all right. You're in the balance. Right? Keep doing it. That's it. It's okay. Some people might not like it, and that's what makes us all different. But as long as you've got the balance, they can't argue too much. Right? Except you're an asshole. They can say a little bit. They can't argue too much at all. They'll have their opinions. But at least you can be in the righteous and in the balance. Things aren't in the balance. You can argue all the time because you know it's not right because it's going to fail. Soon you're going to go, yeah, you're rich now, but then what's going to happen? And we've already done it as humans. We're still doing it because we listen to leaders and don't get things right. So back to education. Getting off track a little bit here. Education. And here's another thing too. I can talk slower like this if you want. But I have video time and shit cameras and shit phones, right? And they don't hold much, and I like to get a lot of things out so I don't have to sit there for a while and download and do certain things. And so talking quick helps me quickly get out the point before it goes doom. If you notice, I started talking more quicker because of that problem. I'm like, oh, it's not going to die. No. If anyone else wants to have any other opinion, that's their right. But you shouldn't make an opinion unless you know a fair bit about something. Then make an opinion on it. Otherwise, you ask questions, right? And you either know the question or you don't, right? But at least with the asked question, that means that you want to keep learning with it. You want to know. And sometimes you'll ask a question. You do it to your parents. I've been doing it a lot lately. Some of my questions, as I've talked about. Some I didn't know. And I figured it out not long after anyway myself. Because I won't stop thinking about it or doing something and get off that subject till I get that question. Then I figure it out myself. I go, look, I think about things. And I get an answer. Or at least I get a theory like a lot of other people do on that question. And that's why I ask other people a lot of questions. Because question gets communication going, doesn't it? Or finds out where people are. People aren't answering means they don't want to know, or don't care. Huh? They just don't want to know. Huh? Or they're stealing. They want to know, but they're not going to talk to you about it because I'm taking the information. Huh? Another sign of why people don't communicate. So back to the education. So what did you do when you left high school? Did you get the job? Did you have the baby? Did you do all the above? Or did you go party for a while? And when you're partying, what are you learning? You're learning how to party. So you learnt that. So you're going from school, and now I know school and partying. So when you go to talk to school people, you'll be like, yeah, I know school, and guess what? You're missing. You can go partying, you can go clubbing, you know this, and that's what happens when they go to talk to these type of people too. So that's what, education. So that's how you can look back on people and you go, well, what would he know? What was he been doing? Definitely people that have been around, you would ask them, well, what was he doing mostly? What would he more likely know? And when you do things, doesn't mean you're good at it. Doesn't mean you remember it. It depends on how much you did it and how much you want to put it in your noggin. Right? That's why I watched a few different docos and over. Helps refresh. And it depends on how often you try to refresh or try to keep the things. Or how important do you think it was to keep it in your long-term memory? Because that's the key. Our brain works in certain ways. Some people say you can be off your head and you never learn nothing. But then all of a sudden, it depends on how you're off your head too. You remember later what you learnt then. You just didn't remember that time. Right? So it doesn't mean you can't learn when you're on certain drugs. You can. You just won't remember that time, and it might not help you till later and stuff like that. It's not a good thing to be on drugs, but it doesn't mean you don't learn. That's what I'm trying to say. Right? And in some cases, in some sectors, like art and a few things, they need certain pills or things that they have to change them in a way to help them. Like I said, a dude is more happier with the beer to do their art, you see. So you hear a lot of people that do art take things or do certain things to do their art. Helps them do it better, more relaxed. Whatever way to make them relax, they'll say, or whatever. They'll do certain things for that. Huh? So if you left and you just partied and you just end up getting to have a kid, so you'll end up, the education of parenting and the way you do it, because there's lots of different ways of parenting. You'll learn the way how you end up doing it. And a lot of parents end up failing. You'll learn that you failed in that sector, and it was a hard life of parenting. Learning, it's like learning anything. You got to learn either read a book and hear all the people's experience before you even have a baby. You could do that, and then when these people like read these books and go, "Well, I already know parenting," and technically you do, but parenting's different in all different ways. That's why there's different books of parenting. Right? Depends on what works for you and how. When did you start doing the good way, and how far did you let things go, spoil him before you decide to go, hang on, I can't spoil him, I've got Paul, and then you realise what spoiling does. Learning what works for you. Louis Wagtail. I love these. They've been sparking me up lately because there are new babies that have been turned up more often. But all babies grow. Add your babies. And it's free time soon. So when it comes to education, what you try to do, instead of watching movies over and over again, and then you'd be educated in movies, but how's it going to help you? When you want to get educated, you always educate yourself in the now and how you're going to make things better or how it's going to help you. And when you watch things from history, you watch things that were wrong. A lot of things that went wrong, because that'll teach you not to do. What not to do, not to do. Right? And so you can learn quicker. So if you go, oh shit, if I watch a couple of months of this or a year of this, well, what not to do, there might be a lot of what not to do failures I might not do because I've seen them do it. I'm not going to do that now. I've seen how it does. I'm going to talk about it. And in most cases, like I talked about in a clip already before, is most people will still touch it anyway. Oh, I don't know what hot is. I've got to touch it. I know I got told that it was hot, but I just didn't quite understand it. I want to know what hot is, or I want to know it. I want to go through that experience. Like someone saying I've been on drugs and one day they get, there's a lot of good things about what they said they were on that. And Benylin can make you talk more too, put your heart rate up. Is they want to learn, right? All different ways. I'm gonna blab for this for ages, so I think I've done enough about learning and how you want to learn and how you should learn and what you think you want to learn. It's all about trying to keep happy and learning. And if you're happy, you can slowly learn too. It's no rush like this concrete addict. I want it all to be done now. Well, here's another quick way to finish this off before I lose track often and try to go from one subject to another. I'm just going to finish it all off of how I see it and how to do things in a happier way. It's not so stressful and how things have become stressful. See, if this was a job, right, and you get sick and delayed, you feel bad in that because you know you need to get it done. It's not you and you were paid for it and all that kind of stuff. And so it makes you feel a certain way. It makes you want to work harder or makes you feel, oh shit, down if you don't do it. Right? But when you work for yourself, you don't have to feel down unless your ego's down. Right? Means, like, I want this done. Right? And because of my health and because of money issues and a lot of other things, that all gives it slowing down time. Right? And also, how much do I have to push it? So if I want to just cruise it, you cruise it. But if I want it done now and push it in my illness, I can't. If I think pushing it now to get it done now, and it's going to be harder than doing it another day or when it's cooler, right, as you see me been doing things lately, then why do it unless I'm going to get something bonus out of it, which is working. So if you're working for someone and you know you're going to get money, and you know it's a responsibility and you have good days and bad days, you push yourself, you go out there. But why do it when you've got plenty of time to do it? And then if your person's got a bit of time, what are you going to do after you've done that? So say I knocked all this out in one day. Say I did a hard day's work, which I can do. So I'll talk about a hard day's work that I can do. And a hard day's work, if I got into it and I said, this is it, and I had all the energy, it felt good, right? Or I knew I had to do it, right? And I pushed myself. So you go out there, so you look like shit, push yourself day. Or you're out there and you're like, no, and do a good hard day's work because your body's good and you're in physical good health, right? I can go out there, concrete all this, no worries, right? You just keep doing a barrel every, say, 40 minutes, in the wheelbarrow, and I only need 5 wheelbarrows. No, even in 20 minutes of wheelbarrow, quick speed. So 40 minutes slow, bang, 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 doing this kind of thing, and 20 minutes even that. Quick, just mix it in as quick as you can do it. The stain, put it down. Next light in every barrel, do a metre or two, every wheelbarrow. And all I have to do is like 10 wheelbarrows, and just keep the effort up, even though you're getting overworked, right? So the tougher the man is, the more you can just keep on trucking. But say we did it, you could smash all this out in a day or two. Got all the work on it done, all the trimmings all around there, and then I can be on to the other things, and the trimmings. And if I stay in the mark and smash and have this thing out here, twice as beautiful as it is now that it's been so long within a week. Right? And that's because you want to get it, or because people are talking about it and you want to show them quicker what they want to see and stuff like that as they talk about it. Your pride is what makes you want to do things quicker too. Right? But if you don't have all that, no one gives a shit. See, no pride, right? Makes it even easier to cruise. Right? There's no responsibility and less stress. Most stress I have is my CF constantly giving me gut aches and making me cough, and it's hard to breathe, no energy a lot, right? And so CF gives me that problem, right? And it's hard now to find workers. I'm not reliable when it comes to the work I just said. If you had a job and you had to do that every day, I couldn't do it. So I'm not reliable in that kind of work field. But I can be more reliable doing what I'm doing right now. I can be pretty sick, quickly have times where you can bang heaps of Aniline, you're not so bad, and when I have it, I pump out a lot of videos. I can talk quick like this and get just as much videos as the person talking slower and that, and talk all day. And it depends on the mind as well, on how I pumped it out and how much help and so on. You find your sector, you find where you fit and where you can fit too, where you can go quick. Right? And why I dance a certain way. I can dance quicker than the dancing. I'm not going to get into that too much at the moment because that's a thing I'm going to actually get back into a bit later. And there's plenty of reasons why. And if they ever want to talk about it, I'll give them the plenty of reason why. They're just going to have to wait when it comes to seeing my dancing at the moment. It's going to be a little while. But I still do it personally and other things like that. But when it comes to my dancing, I do slow dancing for when I'm not too well. And when I'm healthy, I can go pretty crazy, quicker and more faster moves and stuff like that, which I've done. And I'm confident that I can dance in all pretty cool ways and how all different people see different dancing. That's what I practiced over the last 2 years, or nearly 3 years now. Last year or so, I've died down a bit of dancing, but I've talked about it to my family. No one's actually come and seen it, as I don't connect with my family much anyway. But I did mention about things for the last few years and what I've been doing and how long I've been doing it. And they can believe me or not believe me. But it's myself and what I can show to show that effort. It's just like learning. Doesn't mean you've seen it all, doesn't mean it's still in your head, is it? How do you learn? And how we know that they know is by asking them questions and stuff like that. Right? And finding out what they know, right? When it comes to those areas. And that's what I tell people. I'll tell you if I know. If I don't know, I won't say nothing. I'll tell you to look it up. Right? I'm honest. And I don't know everything. But if I know something, I'll let you know, or I'll tell you the bits I know. And if you want to know more, just look it up. Right? As usually when it comes to me, I don't know everything about every sector. I just know enough to get me through it. So if you want to drive a car, you know enough to maintain that car. You don't have to know how to build it or anything, but you just need to know how to maintain it so you can know how to fix it, or what problems when you need to go get help, that kind of thing. You don't need to know the whole thing about everything. You can know so much and move on and be just as good as something, or know just as a little bit of much of something, like a mechanic, when it comes to cars. Definitely when you go for more issues of that, as I've fixed cars and done a fair few issues as I went through it. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. And I hope you get my point when it comes to working and why people do what they do. So people that work more and they don't like it, well, that's because they just want the things. Maybe because they're paying off credit cards, so they've already got all the wants. So that's just like me. I have to go to work now. If I've got a worker to come in and do it all for me, and even pay for the materials as well as the work, that means I've got to somehow get a credit card or go work myself to pay their work. Right? If not, you do it yourself. Right? Which is what I'm doing. So if you can look at something like this, that a worker, say I finish this and concrete it and get it all basically done, I'll put my opinion in. I don't know the cost much. So this is probably 8 years ago kind of opinion. I'm usually a few years behind at least, as I hermit a lot and go to different sectors and stop learning sectors, right, for a while. As I've talked about when it comes to computers. Right? I knew computers at one stage more better because it upgraded a lot. I've lost a lot of it. And when it comes to laws, I don't like learning too much of that because it changes too much. So you might learn your laws then, you give it a break, then other things come back, and then you find out it's not learning, you've got to stay in it. There's certain things you've got to stay in to know that best. I understand that. Or catch up quick on, right? Which I'm starting to learn when it comes to laws and certain things, right? And so I can either get someone to pay for it all and do it that way, or I do it myself. And I use materials, so I either go, I want just that because that looks cool than that. I just want that one, so you can either work more for it, and that's what's going to happen. right? Or you can go with the flow. The more you go with the flow, the more cheaper and the more you don't have to work with. And you can find that it's just as good as, or if not better than going with the opinion you thought you want. Like women buying clothes all the time and handbags, and next minute they get rid of it 3 months later and they want something. They're never really happy, you know. Oh, but that was something. Well, you might as well just get them for free then. I'll be the person with the hand-me-downs. They're getting them for free, you see. And they get just as much selection, just be a little bit behind and don't hang out with them. Right? And that's what I'm working with this equipment. In the end, $500 all up, max of concrete that I've spent up so far, right? And if I quickly finish off what I said that I've got, because the concrete's here now, had it for a little while now, about a week now, so whatever. I told you on the clip when the last lot of concrete rocked up to do the path and everything. I said there should be enough to do. That's all I spent. So beyond that, would this garden cost more than five? And the roses I spread, I didn't have to go pay $50 or $25 for a small one. They have different prices, right? Or $80 for a taller one in a year. It'd be nearly worth an $80 rose, right? Because you pay for the time and you want it now. You pay for what now, right? And you just want it now, right? Because yeah, you go, oh, it's there now. Everyone can look at it. Well, do that. You're allowed to. We've all got ego. I'm doing this now because I want to look at something, and that's my ego. And not look over there. They'll go, well, you got it. We've all got ego in some way, but how bad is it? How bad is all the traits that you got? And why do you have so much of one thing? Is it a good thing, having too much ego? I don't think it is. So, things to think about, isn't it? Right? And so when all this is concrete and done, like going and buy that, right? Just the stainless, the aluminium sheet in there, those back ones, a big sheet. Right? Just go buy them, they ain't cheap. Right? So you got to either get lucky, have materials and what I've talked about, or if you just want it now, the people want it now, like have the newest phone and stuff. You're going to have to pay top dollar. You can have it now. Yeah, right? You're not a waiter. Yeah, you be a person you got it now before everyone else. You've had it a year before them. Doesn't matter what style you've had before. What everyone has different styles and changes styles, so that shouldn't really matter, should it? Of how far up ahead and how low. You should only have a newer thing because you needed one, really, as far as I'm concerned. But everyone thinks differently. Like I said, your ego's up. Why don't you have the newest one? I've got the newest one. Oh, I'm better because I've got the newest and you don't. It's an ego thing. But how much would you charge? Let me know in comments if I ever get one. On how much all that would be worth if you had to go get it now. Right? And then get someone to do it. How much work would it be? And then add up, would that be more than $500? I can guarantee you it's going to be. I'm looking at probably off my head $3,000, probably more than that, right? That's what I would probably charge, thinking of certain prices right there, and with the prices up. Like I said, I haven't seen prices for a while, but I'll chuck out $3,000, see how close, and might double that, triple that, whatever. I'm just going to chuck out a cost, and yet it only cost me $500. Yet I have to do the work to save $2,500 if it's $3,000. So I'm just tracking that out there as a whole. It's going to work with the story, right? So it doesn't have to be exact. So I'm trying to explain to people sometimes when things aren't quite right when I talk about it. It's not only just for me, it's for another way of showing you and another thing. It's another example. It's not has to be exact. It still tells the same thing in a way, right? And if you want to be exact, you can chuck it out and we'll go, okay, you want exact, here we go. Right? Like children do a lot. They go, oh, that's not quite right. They didn't get it because they didn't know all the other points. Right? But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I think I've explained enough when it comes to your baby's flying off. It comes to information and also a bit of labour. What you can do with your labour, even though how sick you are. And quite like you can do nothing. On your good days, you can go for a walk. Right? I haven't got all these stories here, but your life is a story and what you do. I haven't got a lot of going out so much because I haven't had the opportunities to travel so much as in my life. I was either sick or helping out or doing something for myself. Right? It's like if you did all this, then all of a sudden my life went to shit, or I got bombed from Taliban, right? I'd have to restart, and I could be still talking the same thing. Incidents happen, right? Even though you get somewhere, you can go forward and back a lot in your life, right? And it's not always your fault, and that still wouldn't be my fault, would it? Some people would just go, well, it's just life. Ego people love to say that. It's just life. Things are just life, but a lot of things are caused in life. Definitely, the more connected we are and closer we are to people, they're more affected from the people and things around them. Right? It causes problems. And if we can't even just go out and get free, well, there's a big problem altogether. Right? as we find that your rules are unrighteous. That's why people would leave, not fitting in, not getting justice either. Things can happen all the time, but as long as we get justice, it makes you want to stay around. As long as you get listened to, as long as things are fair. If that's not happening, that's also you want to leave. You feel captured, feel controlled, don't you? That's why I say, are you on the list? Have someone complained to you about their noise complaint yet? Because what I've been talking about when it comes to noise complaint, I've had the police give me a paper, I've got all the video about it. It's true. And you won't know about it and it doesn't bother you until you have that problem, until someone wants to complain on you. Right? So that's why we all like to hang around people who are more fair or doesn't want the world to revolve around them. Because if you have people who think it's just more about them, they'll complain on you all the time. Like I said, when it's decent time, we have this one rule when it comes to sound, and they believe that they, even though they got night shift and got paid more, so when you have night shift, you either move out of town, build a house that's soundproof. There's things you can do. You get paid more for night shift, right? And there's a reason for it, because it's a harder life. It's harder to stay up. You got problems, and so you get a bigger pay. It's all added up, right? So you're not allowed to use that. And when you have a kid, that's your problem. It's not other people's problem that you've had a child. And when you have a child, you've got to deal with noise, just trucks going past. No, the noise is going to go there for 10 minutes. You don't know how long things go for. That's why I pop with complaints. You wait, if it's continuing. To me, I wouldn't complain unless I hear music constantly waking up my baby. So I would say, this is constantly happening. If you get to that part, then you should complain. But if it's barely happened or it's just happening now, which was my case when it went to go happen, I didn't have music on that much from it. Then you go complain. Right? Always shut your windows. Always do things that what life is before you go complain. And then when you go complain, always start off with the nicest first. Don't come running and screaming and all that. Even if it's been a while, you don't get to do that because then it's going to look bad again. You come in nice. Always make sure that you're doing what you want to be done onto you. And if someone heard your music 10 times and then they got sick of it, you think they got the right to come in and yelling and screaming and banging at your door and threatening and all this kind of crap, right? Which you don't know them. So hey, would you take that? You'd take that as a crazy man, threatening, dangerous, wouldn't you? Definitely if you don't know him as well. I don't know him. If you know him, it's easy to go more crazy at people and stuff like that, which I've been trying to explain to people. How people will say things to people and it's alright when you know each other because you get each other. But when people don't get each other, they try to get you through the law now because the law has problems. And they can because they have assumptions. And so the law's getting backed up because of people's assumptions. They're not even true. No evidence. Right? Should at least have evidence of things before it gets to the law. But anyway, it doesn't work fine. Have a good one, everybody, and bye-bye. And I hope you get education. Look, this one here's like 27 minutes, nearly 28 minutes. Me blabbing about education. I just blab all day long about certain factors, and I can probably still talk about education even more in so many different ways because there's so much education still to learn out there and so much different ways of education for different people. So if you're a connector, you've got to learn even more than just knowing yourself. See, you can know yourself, yeah, right, which I'm starting to learn. I know myself, I know me, but you don't know them, so it takes me more work if you want to connect. So if you don't want all the work and you don't think it's worth it or it's not making you happy doing it, right, then don't do it. Don't have all those friends. More friends, more responsibilities. They all want to be hung out with, right? If you can hang out in a group, then smash that out. But that can cause problems trying to hang out in a group all the time too. And people favouring people and so on. Anyway, I'm blabbing. Have a good one and see ya.